and it's just we're all down here at the bottom just trying to figure it out. So Max, what do you think? Like, how do people get empowered when we're being robbed of our democracy, robbed of our rights, right in front of our eyes? Like, where do we go from here?
Well, that's a broad question, but the traditional way of getting to the middle class that's been around for thousands of years, that the Jewish people have used, or my own heritage on my Jewish side, not my Muslim side, and in China, the Chinese people use is you save your money and you invest your money. You start working early, you save and you invest, and if you properly save and you properly invest safely, by the time you are in your 30s, your 40s, you own your own home, and you have enough savings to comfortably live. And that's absolutely available in the United States of America, even now, as opposed to, how it was in China 30 years ago or 20 years ago, or Europe at some point in time. It's a very productive nation. So this nation still has an opportunity. If somebody wanted to tighten their belt, save a little bit of money, and you could think about this. Think about how much money you might have spent frivolously, or any individual might have spent frivolously over the course of a year, $10,000, $5,000. And if 10 years ago they invested that into a company like Amazon or Apple, not something outrageous, Amazon or Apple, real legitimate businesses, that $10,000 would have been 100,000, 150,000, would have turned into a nest egg, would have turned into whatever. But the issue being is that they don't teach this information in school. It's not good enough for me to be here for 2 minutes and explain how to save and invest and go through this process that could give any individual at least a happy middle class life. That should be taught in school. In school, they don't teach you anything. They'll teach you, I don't know what they teach you, a parallelogram versus a rhombus or what have you. But that doesn't give you the tools you need to make and save money and come up with an interesting plan. And another point that I really want to communicate that really, really bothers me, that boggles my mind. Student debt, to get a decent college education, a bachelor's degree is like $100,000 to $200,000 in this country, and you also have to take in account for the 4 years that you have to labor at that and all the other expenses that come along. So if you account 4 years of labor, even at $40,000 that somebody would be making, an intelligent person, $30,000 to $40,000 bare minimum, uh, you would be looking at least 120 to $160,000 over the course of those 4 years that you would have earned if you would have been living at home, a portion of which you would have saved. So a person going to school right now, had they just worked at Amazon or a supermarket or what have you, would be able to, within 4 years, if they just properly worked and forgot about all the distractions, would save $100,000 by the time an individual would get his bachelor's degree with $200,000 debt. So you got a person with a piece of paper that says bachelor's degree and $200,000 worth of debt they have to pay off, versus a person that has $100,000. Now that person that has $100,000, if they invested properly, 10 years forward, the person that invested will be richer than the person with a bachelor's degree, no matter what they do or what job they get. That's the reality in this nation, but you have to understand that and make the most of it. And that's not the case. What the game is now is, oh, you got to go to school, got to get your degree, got to get in debt, and go into this machine and serve and run on this treadmill until you get exhausted and drop dead. That's why I opted out of that. And at least people should know what options they have, but they don't, because it's we've got work to do as in a society. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. Does anyone else want to add to that point that Max just made?
I will, unless.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Marcus.
I don't want to sound too blatant, and I don't know when I'm gonna put my foot in my own mouth by being on having a public opinion again. But I know people that aren't the brightest, and I don't have the great amount of intellectual respect for, that work for Amazon who have shares of Amazon, and shares of Amazon's worth, $2,000, $1,000, whatever. But they're employed by them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Max is saying. That they have these financial opportunities that if they knew how to work, stock markets and stocks and trading and all that, then they could be in a really good position in years. But these people couldn't read a paragraph into a Walter Russell book without passing out. So, but they have these stocks. They have a great financial gain already.
It's tragic.
Marcus, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I will say that obviously Maksud has vastly more experience in wealth creation than I do. But I would like to add a couple of caveats with economics. The fact is that America isn't the place where you can make it anymore. Since the 1950s to about 2010, America was the place where you could come and on average, you could start lower income and work up. That's no longer the case. All economists say that's not the case. In fact, if you want to actually start from rags and move to riches, your chances are better in Western Europe. Denmark actually has a vastly greater chance of starting poor, working hard, investing, and moving yourself up than America. America used to have that, but it has lost it in the last 15 years. That is widely recognized. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make wealth here, but this is not the place of your grandparents. Pull yourself up, invest, work hard. It ain't working. Europe's the place to do it. The rags to riches stories actually happens in the last 10, 15 years in other countries, not here in the U.S. like it used to. Those days are over. Now, maybe they can come back, but they haven't really. And that's through W, Obama, and Trump. It's not a Republican-Democrat thing. It's an America thing. The other thing is that everybody's talking about, invest in homes, wealth. We got screwed on that. People lost their homes. They lost their homes. They got nothing. They were told invest in homes. That's the secret to wealth. Everybody got screwed. Nobody got their homes back. And 30. Yeah. So, I'm going to play fair. I'm going to invest in my home. Your home's taken away from you. And 30% of the wealth from the middle class moved to the upper class during the recession. So there was no rebalancing. The middle class invested in their homes. That was the bedrock of American pull yourself up.
And I'd like to comment on that point when you're finished. I'll tell you why.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have more details than I do. I'm just talking very general macroeconomic things. Yes, you can move up, but let's be honest here. You can't move up like you used to. Everybody who owned a home got screwed. 30% of the wealth was sucked out of the middle class, put into the top 1%. And also, let's say you were not well educated and you just wanted to buy a home. They were allowed to sell bad home loans. And all of the low-level loan officers who were Black and Latino and mostly located in California went to jail. But all of the banks who changed the Glass-Steagall home regulations and were primarily Caucasian people, none of them were investigated and none of them went to jail. And that's called justice. By the way, that happened during Barack Obama.
Wow, crazy. Okay, Max, go ahead.
Well, what I wanted to say to this point, and he has the right point. It's not like it used to be. America's not like it used to be. It's not as easy to make money, and there's a reason for that. The reason for it being is the financially educated, let's say, are taking advantage of the financially uneducated. In essence, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer.